Welcome to the Alpha X Pro Series. I'm Xenodactyl, your host, and with me today is iRush People.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
We are presenting you with Harstem versus Bly, a best of 9. Starting off on Kairos Junction.
Yeah, so Protoss versus Zerg. Both of them are really high MMR. I know that these are competitive professional players, but I'm not really familiar with where they sit in relation to each other, right?
Sure. I think I've generally viewed them as pretty similar in that, like, they both have those WCS appearances. They're both, like, not terribly accomplished, but they're established household names.
Right, like whatever you want to name that point between hitting Grandmasters and then hitting that like really professional winning Premier Tournaments tier. They're somewhere in between that area, which is really fun because you see a lot of creativity in that point. There's a lot of experimentation, and I know Bly particularly is a little off the rails sometimes. He'll throw something out there just to see if it works, and I'm excited to see that. Both
of them have distinct stylistic tendencies. Like, I remember Harstem also would I haven't seen him do this in any recent time, but like when he would get into like late game Protoss versus kind of anything, he'd start to build like static defense in the middle of the map so that he'd have like this retreat point that wasn't as far back, and like it would start to encroach on his opponent, like as if it was like how Zerg might have Spinecrawler tactical advances.
Right, like it's like a little safe point where you run back to. You're like, nope, base, I'm touching mom, you can't tag me back, kind of thing. You just run back there with your carriers and,
Right.
get your shield batteries, get a little drink of water, and then get back to the fight.
Yeah, I haven't seen him do that at any time recent, but that's what kind of put him on the map for me.
Gotcha, was seeing that Sky Toss late game play style.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome. Hey, we're loading in.
Yep. All systems go.
Yeah, I mean they're chomping at the bit. Their vetoes went bam, bam, bam. They're ready to get this going. First map's going to be Kairos Junction, which is noteworthy because the ramp doesn't have, like, your natural where the Protoss puts their wall off is not a ramp, so you don't get any high ground advantage when you're defending. And so I'm curious to see if Bly is going to try to capitalize on that. There's also a really big main, so it's good for Niduses and Overlord drops. There are these defensive features on a map that a Protoss could hypothetically want, and they're notably missing on Kairos Junction. So,
and couple that with a short rush distance.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Spawning in the bottom left, the Ukrainian Zerg in the blue. It is Blazer's Bly. And spawning in the top left, the red, it is from clan ASTSC. It's Harstem. All right. Put your money on it. Who do you think's got the first map?
This
just
map,
where
I do think favors Bly's style.
Yeah. What would you say Bly's style is, if you had to put it into words?
Quirky aggression.
Quirky aggression. I like it. Yeah, I agree with that. Probably going to see a gas coming up here. Hatch first, so I feel like it's more of like that 2-base style than a 1-base style. He likes to have that to fall back on and kind of put his opponents into that 50-50 where you have to kind of guess, like, okay, I just got attacked really early and I held it. Is he taking a third base and droning up, or is there a bunch of Roach Ravager on the way to follow this up, and kind of controlling the map that way? Got a pretty simple looking gateway expand out of Harstem. Standard openings out of both players so far, so all of our talk about innovation and quirkiness will come sometime after they get a nice even footing here, which pretty common in the in best of nines to take the first map and just kind of pump the brakes on the creativity and just feel out your opponent and get a taste for what you're in for.
At least for the opening stages, I feel like at minimum, just seeing like what opener they want to go for, what sort of how reactive they are to certain things. There's not a whole lot that, like, it's more common to see changes in a person's playstyle in the mid and late game to game, than it is to see deviations in their opening.
Right. What is interesting, though, is that I think that if either of these players felt particularly threatened by their opponent, then they would open up with a more aggressive, kind of cheesy playstyle. Whereas if you feel like your opponent's on your level and you have, you want to play your macro game against them, then you are more likely to open up in this kind of standard way. So could you say there's some confidence from both of these players here?
Yeah, I think that's fair, though. I also recall Harstem cannon rushing Namshar back in WCS, and I don't really feel like Namshar is the type of person that Harstem should feel unconfident against.
Definitely. So we have a couple links into the main. This is far more for scouting than any kind of damage that's looking to get done, but it is annoying. It does pull Harstem's attention and make him have to address this, and he shouldn't lose any of those.
He sees the Stargate with that as well, so that's nice confirmation that things are going to be perfectly normal for the mid-game.
Right, as we were talking about standard openings, that's kind of continuing. I would give a slight advantage to Bly for getting such an easy scout. He didn't have to sacrifice any Overlords.
Indeed.
But we're seeing a third hatchery coming up, an Oracle on the way out, right? This is PvZ as we know it. This is familiar territory.
Queens are
A little bit
chomping
of-
away at that Adept. I don't think they will get it. Oh, they do actually.
Oh, pulls the Oracle back. Harstem was ready in case there was a follow-up or a swell of Lings behind that, but no need, just a few Lings for an Adept.
I feel like this opening has gone really well for Blythe, with that run-in, as you mentioned, and also getting that Adept, forcing some Oracle energy, and otherwise just taking control of the early game.
Noteworthy as well is that he saw the Oracle pull back and turn on its weapon, and so he delayed the spores. He's only just now putting them down, so he might have got a whole 40 minerals off of that from the extra mining time getting to delay those spores. So just we're seeing some edges here in Bly.
Definitely.
All right, 3 queens. Oh, if this Oracle goes down, that's 4. That costs a lot. That was the first real. I was joking about the minerals, but that's the first real advantage we've seen so far in this game. That's expensive to get no drones with the first Oracle and to have it sniped down by queens.
Okay, so we have Archon drop coming out of Harstem, but he doesn't have that Oracle to help secure the third. So I kind of want to see Bly just make a swell of Lings and like push, since like the Archon drop is gonna split the attention, and he's not gonna be defending that with Lings anyway.
Right, we can kind of see that the Archon drop scales with how much attention you can pay to it. Right, it's very intensive. But if you have those Lings harassing the third or threatening run-bys at the natural, or trying to chip down the cybernetic score or something, then it all detracts from that attention that the Protoss player would like to be committing to the Archon drop, which is headed in right now.
Over at the third, gonna maybe. Yeah, the queens are in a really nice position, zoning out the prism.
Right, but they've arguably overcommitted there. That's 2 queens, which is a lot more damage than Harstem would have had with this Archon. 3 queens, actually.
Wow.
If it just hadn't been defended, he would have gotten a couple Overlords, which is definitely better for the Zerg to lose than the queens.
Yeah. The prism is almost dead, so it's going to be a considerable amount of time before Harstem can threaten the Zerg again, though. So while that was a lot of nice damage, Bly does have some breathing room.
Right, and we see those 3 queens being replaced immediately, because that is his anti-air. That is what he uses to shove the prism out.
And Roaches are going to push up onto this high ground by the natural. There is an Immortal here, and the Archons have come back. I don't know if Bly really has the means with the force fields. He does have a Ravager. He could break force fields, but he is going to retreat for now.
Right. Much more interesting is quirky aggression, as you said. We're only 7 minutes into the match, and we have 10 swarm hosts on the way. So he's getting ready to besiege this third base. I don't know about you, but I've not seen how this plays out very much, and so I can't say if this is him capitalizing on his opening, or if this is because the Oracle died. But he's got a plan. He's going to go for it.
Yeah, definitely unique.
Okay, force field's down. Shield batteries are healing away. There's 2 of them, actually. We have the Archon drop coming in from behind, ready to reinforce. Pretty good hold so far. Fighting those roaches without the swarm host there to support, that went really well for Harstem. Couple queens there for range damage. Ravagers to use the corrosive vials to push that back. I like the
what
creep
he did
spread
with his prism in order to break up the swarm host a little bit.
Yeah, that interception there. That was really clever. I like this, going for the cannons, going for the extra shield batteries. Gets a few drones there, and that counts, because Bly wants to be putting his money into his larva, especially into these military units, into this contain, and not into defending this drop that he has over here in the main.
Yeah, the queens are having to come back, and deal with the Zealots, the Archon can just swing back to the 4th, and it's a lot of attention splitting from Bly, but at the same time he's gonna bring his Swarm Host over to the natural. Good interception from Harstem, and retreating, forcing the Locust to land, but Roaches are also on top of the 3rd, getting into that mineral line, killing some of the shield batteries. Lots of carnage on both sides, but I think more drones have fallen than probes, so while this is a lot of good aggression out of Bly, I feel Harstem is gaining some edges back into this game.
Definitely. I would definitely argue that the better fight there went for Harstem, getting the 4th hatchery killed, and now we only have the next one with no drones at it. Bly's down to 54 workers against 67, so unless he gets some really good damage with these Swarm Hosts, I would give the time edge over to Harstem. I would say that the longer this goes without a dramatic shift in who's ahead...
wow. Those Locusts are really completely... That was like when Gumiho would drop Thors to just force a Locust landing and then retreat.
Yeah, they get a Pylon and an Immortal and a Gateway. So it's something, but with this many Swarm Hosts, you want to get more than that in a wave. You want to get, I don't know, 2 or 3 buildings just to try to really chip it down. Dark Templar running into the bases here. There are spores, but there's nothing to actually defend. Dark Templar one-shot drones, so in there 5 so far. Dark Templar in the main as well, just really trying to control the economy here. The mining mostly seems to be the focus for Harstem. $12 meters on the way. We have a switch coming out here for Bly. He went from hard ground with the Swarm Host to full air transition.
Locust coming in at the 3rd again. They're gonna be able to chip off a little bit of the army, but not finding much else, I don't think.
No. So we have a supply lead, definitely, for Bly, but I feel like Harstem is still in a pretty good spot for this.
Well, that supply lead is in Roaches and Swarm Hosts, both of which are kind of, like, not good at taking a straight-up fight. And he even has mutas too. Like, what in Bly's army is going to stop this Protoss force coming up the center?
Right, just by pushing out like that, just by exerting himself on the map and not being pinned by mutas and not being pinned by roach run-bys, he gets 4 or 5 Swarm Hosts there almost for free. Mutas into the main though, they're going to look for probably Pylons, look to unpower that Stargate there before the Phoenix count becomes competitive. Really control those skies there. Stalkers warped in, they're getting taken out. All of Harstem's army being pulled back here to deal with these mutas. And there's a bunch of Zealots. They look up at the air and go, yep, those are mutas. Look at them go.
Did you see Ravi's tweet about lifting Zealots to attack air units?
Oh, I didn't. You pick them up and you throw them?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I didn't read it too carefully.
Oh, I love it. Oh, little micro errors like that are going to cost a lot. The Phoenix count gets reset there, which lets the mutas come right back into the main here. Another Stalker warp in, the 4th base is saved, and now we kind of see the opposite here. We have Bly pushing Harstem, putting him on the back foot there.
Yeah, this is it's a nice harass coming out of Bly. He also had this attack that was on the, I guess, 4th base, but it's
big fight.
Dealt with pretty. That's a lot of supply going down for Bly.
Absolutely, those +2 Immortals there, Hardened Shields trigger, and it's hard to say that this is a win for Harstem with everything going on, though, because he keeps on losing these Phoenixes here. He doesn't have any a second Stargate, he doesn't have a Fleet Beacon, he can't afford it right now. And so, by getting his Phoenix count reset like this, it just keeps putting him back to having to be in that desperation mode instead of stabilizing.
There are 14 mutas on the production tab as well. So while this current flock is starting to dwindle, That won't be the case in a couple of moments. Locusts are going to come in and... oh, that's really nice. Getting those Archons when you have a... Okay. Well, Bly is going to take the first game.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. Taking those little leads in the beginning and then just continuing to poke, continuing to prod and say, you know, this is not the game where we patiently wait and watch, and then when we're at 200 supply, we'll have one big battle, right? He went right into it, and I don't know, well earned victory.
Yeah, it got a little bit bumpy in the mid game, but I think that's it speaks more to the like equality of skill of these players, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like both of them have their moments in the game where you can see that they are why they are who they are, why they have that reputation of being very formidable.
Right, Bly won, but he didn't crush it, right? We have a series on our hands. I would be very surprised to see anything more than a 4-2. Like, this will probably be a 4-3.
It's a best of 9, so we'll have more games than that.
Oh, I stand corrected. You're absolutely right.
But to the similar end, we'll probably get a full series or something close to.
Definitely. And loading into the second map here, any comments on Automaton as a map for PvZ?
Well, if you had mutas in the last map, I don't know why you wouldn't have mutas on this map. And Swarm Host for that matter as well. But he's not obligated to play the same. Alright, spawning in the upper right as the blue Zerg. It is Blazer Bly. And if you'll take the second one.
And spotting in the bottom left, having a rough go of game 1. We'll see what he's got planned for game 2. The red Protoss player, it is Harstem. I want to see someone get cheesy. I want to see someone go for it, you know?
Well, maybe we'll get, in, the one cannon rush that I have seen Harstem do is the type that would work on, New Repugnancy or... I think that for Cyber Forest it could work there too.
Is Harstem a cannon rusher? Is that something he pulls out pretty often, or?
I feel like it's once in a very, very rare occasion.
Got it.
But
Sorry,
I haven't seen him do any other cheeses besides that. I feel like he likes his macro play, at least to get into the mid game.
Now, I'm wondering if those swarm hosts were just how Bly is approaching this matchup these days, like if he thinks that's the way to go, or if that is like a call he made for the map last game, or something he saw. Like, if we could poke into Bly's head.
I know some Zergs, I don't know if... I just did that.
Alright.
I know some Zergs have been experimenting more with like Swarm Host and Roach play, but I think usually there's more Ravagers than we saw in that. I'm not entirely certain though.
Definitely. Like, so, that was rather light because he was banking the gas for the mutas.
Yeah, that you're right. That's where it was going.
Alright, couple lings here, push it out. Standard openings again. We're seeing we'll see the third hatch come down pretty soon here. We have a Stargate on the way. Interestingly, Harstem goes for these delayed walls, and I guess that he doesn't really care if slowlings get into his base. It doesn't seem like it's a priority of his to really block that off and get a unit plugging the hole there. So
yeah, he even sends his adept out, which I think is kind of funny. Is like, I would just leave my adept at home for a little bit if I wasn't going to wall.
Definitely, but he's kind of inviting it. But here we have this adept here. The primary goal is scouting, right, to make sure that he's not getting all in, to make sure that he doesn't need to be establishing shield batteries or anything. But the secondary goal is if he can get some drones with this, that's absolutely something that he has on his mind. But runs in, easy scout, and then runs back out. Sees that the eggs at the natural were spawning drones and not lings, decides that's enough, and runs home. Looks like we're probably going to see another Archon drop out of Harstem. There are some other routes that he can go with this, especially if it's scouted, but I would expect this to be an Archon drop.
Yeah, it's that standard in the meta, I want to say. Like, there are other... There's also the Glid Up pressure, like 3-gate Glid Up pressure build that's pretty, also very standard. But,
you wouldn't take these gases at the natural for that, though. That's a much more mineral-heavy build.
No. Definitely with the way he's played this, it has to be the Archon drop. But, like, in terms of what is standard in the matchup, like, those two are, like, iconic, right? And then
definitely
after that, you have, like, your double Phoenix play, your DT drop, these other kind of side options.
Alright, Oracle heading into the main. Loses a little bit of shields. Harstem, learning from last game, turns it around before it takes any hull damage. Says, like, okay, we're keeping our Oracle this time.
Yeah.
See if that helps him. Alright, here come the Archons right on time. So, I wonder if Harstem having this Oracle alive will be enough to really change what we saw last game, or if Bly just sticks with the same game plan and commits to that again. The Swarmhost. 4 queens here to try to push out the... We already know that Bly will lose his queens if it means hurting a Warp Prism, so Harstem has to play with that in mind. Oracle lives, puts down a Revelation, gets a couple lings. So, definitely less damage with the Archon drop than last game.
Yeah. I feel like both players are just kind of adjusting to each other, right?
Oh my gosh, Bly, you mad genius. We have an Infestation Pit at 6 minutes. Is this going to be the world's fastest hive? Is this going to be just an Infestor Ravager push? What am I looking at here?
I have no idea.
Okay, because I don't either. Alright, Oracle flies in, pulled the queens out. Oh, that's interesting. If Bly starts a hive immediately, then this Revelation will see it.
Yeah.
And so he has to delay this a little bit if he was wanting a quick hive.
That was a good tag.
Definitely. Fourth base is on the way, a little bit later than normal. Is this going to be a Swarmhost drop? We have a drop Overlord transforming outside of Harstem's base. We have Swarmhosts on the way. What are you planning, Bly?
That tag was Harstem asking the same question as us.
Definitely. Okay, Nidus Swarm on the way. Bly, you national treasure. Like, you, thank you. Thank you for what you bring to our game. Alright, so now Harstem has some really good pylon coverage in his main, though. I think he sniffed out that there might be something along these lines coming. We have a 4 roach drop coming into this slow Overlord, just working his way into the main, lets the roaches down. And that's just a distraction to set up for this Nidus Swarm. It's directly to the right of the 3rd, and that's where we're going to see the fight happen at. We have roaches and Swarmhosts on the way, rallied right into that Nidus Swarm. That's going to be the siege. This roach attack is a diversion. The Nidus Swarm goes. Harstem turns that attack right around, knows what's happening, and the Swarmhosts just load right back into the Nidus.
So...
I love it.
I feel like Swarmhost play coupled with Nidus is like really scary because it's so frustrating to have to chase the swarm host and like they just retreat back through the Nidus. Bye-bye.
Right, and you get that moment of catharsis where you're ready to take your immortals and you fought through the waves of the locusts and you're finally on top of them, and then they leave. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
Okay,
much.
I like this with the Phoenix though. Sniping off these locusts, they are light units, and the Phoenix deals bonus damage to light. So while they're in transit from that Nidus swarm, that Phoenix can do a lot of damage there.
Definitely.
All right, we have the two immortal hit squad here, just flying around, taking out Nidus swarms. Looks like both of them have fallen, and it's a primarily roach-based army. Besides that. Oh, if they fight here, I think Harstem would crush this army here with the Archons and the Immortals, but not with Swarm Host reinforcements though.
It's also
that's. Go ahead.
An awkward place to take a fight, going like down into this open terrain with the possible choke.
Okay, Bly very intentionally dropping his Locust right into the mineral line, going for probes, gets 4 of them with that one drop. He's got a 14 worker lead, he's got a supply lead, he's got more bases. This is and the Spire's on the way. He could hit the same transition as last game.
Now I wonder if we didn't see Nidus play on the last map with it due to like the shorter distance, or if
maybe
this is an adjustment to last game.
Right, if he just doesn't want to hit him with the same plan twice, just in case he's just a little more prepared for it this time around.
Now we do have some charge lots dotted around for the counter aggression, but Swarm Hosts are going to come back over into the third. There is a considerable Protoss force here, so that they're going to be able to clean up the Locust. The Immortals are getting low and kind of working on this hatch, not quite getting it.
Right, I like how both of them are approaching this matchup, where it's very, it's 1-2. It's very calculated here with the aggression on one side and aggression on the other, and we're seeing Zealot run bys to make sure that Bly is having defenses too, and we're seeing Harstem having to. I don't know. They're both really playing the matchup here instead of just throwing death balls at each other. You know?
Yeah. This hatch will fall eventually, but we are going to get another Locust wave heading up into that main.
Yeah, we have 2 warp prisms active on the map. We have Zealots warping in there. We have Immortals dropping at the 4th. Wow, this is a lot of damage.
Really wants to kill the Locust, but it cannot.
You have no dice there. And those Immortals just load up and leave. The Hive might fall. It's getting quite low. Roaches arrive to protect it, but there's no Queens to transfuse. And Harstem's using that distraction to move up here across the 3rd, reinforcing with his Warp Prism. We have action all over the map here.
The DTs are starting to put in a considerable amount of work, helping with the defense of the Locust and then adding a lot of DPS into that last engagement. There is a greater Spire, so if Bly can survive to Swarmos, then he might feel a lot more comfortable, but he's losing bases left and right.
He snipes another hatch, definitely. He's saying, like, okay, you want to go for Broodlords, you want to go for Swarm Hosts, go for these expensive units. He's putting them on a timer for it and a resource limiting moment. These Zealots get the Greater Spire there. Are there any Broodlords?
There are Broodlords out.
There are 7.
Yeah. They're sitting in the middle of the map at the edge of the creep.
Okay, we have a Mothership on the way, we have Tempest on the way, so there's really a timer on Bly right now. He's really racing the clock to get some damage done here. Locusts are landing. He's sieging up the 4th base here, gonna pin Protoss down to 3 bases. Harstem says, okay, you got Broodlords out. You got me. I don't have my Tempest ready. You can have the 4th base. And really, that's a hard choice to make there. He's mining out the main. He's almost mined out the natural, and he's already oversaturated on the 3rd. So he needs a 4th, but he needs to not lose his army to get it.
I feel like that one Tempest shot scared Bly back.
Yep.
I don't know if it was right to go back or to move forward, but in any case, like, all he saw was one Tempest shot, and he backs off for the time being. He's going to get another Nidus up for probably a launch at the main.
Mm-hmm. I don't see any reason for him not to continue with the Swarm Hoster Raz. Mm-hmm. He still has 8 Swarm Hosts. They pop out, they spawn the Locusts, and that's free damage as long as he can get those Locusts headed in the right direction. Oh, that Immortal has a bad day.
Back to Ire with you.
You know, everybody feels tough till they're surrounded by Locusts.
Oh, man. Oh.
Alright, Harstem went for another 4th base here. He'll be able to get this up, but that's some free damage there for the Roaches. They identified the Dark Templar warp in. I would like to see Bly hit some higher drone numbers here. I don't think that you can sustain yourself in a late game PvZ with 56 drones.
I agree with that, though at the same time, I don't know if he's playing, or I don't know if he wants to play for a late game. But he seems to have missed his window. He just doesn't have the... Okay, he did... I guess he has rebuilt all his tech. So, he can, if he fixes his economy.
Right, so if you're Bly here, what are you thinking? What's going through your head?
I guess he needs to... I guess his Roach movement and Swarm Host play is like... It can buy him a lot of time, but... It's the question is, how does he get up to an army that is going to actually challenge Harstem?
Right, because we're seeing that Golden Armada, those upgrades on the way. He's getting the shields, probably starting his next air attack upgrade at some time soon. And so, at some point, this is it. This is what he needed to buy time for. He kept Harstem on his side of the map and said, well, I can go for 10 Infestors and Neuroparasite.
Okay.
So this looks like his answer here. He's going for a Hydralisk Den. I'm curious to see if this works, because I would say that if we were to take command of this replay and you said you have to play as one of these, I would give me Harstem's army, give me his bases. He's got the 4th up. He's maxed out. He's up in workers. He's been successfully harassing, and sure. That's a mighty Tempest count. I think he's got a real lead here.
Yeah, I don't see 10 Neuroparasites being sufficient for this. Like, okay, what are you going to neural that? Maybe the Mothership and the Archons?
I mean, definitely the Mothership, right? That's the center of the bingo card. That's you know, that it is known, right? You neural the Mothership. But besides that, he goes for Infested Terrans instead. Feeling the pressure here, going to use these to creep these static defenses forward here, get a defensive line going. But Harstem says, okay, static defenses with not enough army to protect them, that's free. Continues sieging here. It's just this slow, steady strangling that I think we're going to see Harstem apply here, just as he moves forward, he darts in with the Tempest, gets a free unit, edges himself back, right, waits for the fungals to wear off, and I don't think that there's an answer for Bly here. I don't think he's put himself in the position where he'll be able to hold this.
No, this is... I mean, at least Bly... or at least Harstem doesn't have detection in this army right now.
Oh, there we go. There's a pull. That's good. Time Warp goes down, but, and the Mothership leaves. All right.
Like, there's nothing Bly can do to punish that.
Right. Like, if he had a horde of Hydras underneath that, he built the Hydralisk Den. The idea was there, but the money's not. That 46
there's an
drones.
Observer now. So, even if he catches the Mothership with a no...
We're seeing Fungals. Bly charges forward with his Corruptors here. Gets maybe a Tempest for them. Yep, definitely one Tempest. Two of them. Is this actually going to go better for Bly than I think? Is he onto something here? Harstem being pushed back, Infested Terran spawn. Alright, Harstem establishing a 5th base behind here. If Harstem can keep enough pressure going that he's able to establish his whole side of the map and just replace units as they bleed off in this siege, and just keep that pressure onto Bly, then they're quickly... Bly's outs quickly evaporate, right? His winning plays quickly shrink. But I like this, just throwing down a Nidus Swarm, splitting off just a couple roaches, just saying like, look, okay, I might die, but I need to stop this 5th base from establishing itself. And Swarm Host in and out forces a recall.
That's a lot of valuable time that Bly just bought. Like, while the Locust effectively did nothing, pulling back the entire army is some much needed breathing room. Like, he was about to lose another base and possibly the game without that recall.
Good static defenses here. They keep him a little safer from this harass that Harstem's trying to counter-apply. And, okay, the time that he bought is over now. Harstem says, okay, I dealt with the Nidus Swarm. I'm moving back across the map. Oh, DT's on patrol here, actually. Shut that Nidus Swarm down.
That's nice.
Definitely. Alright. I'm always just curious what the next step is here in a thing like this. There's so much to balance, and there's so many priorities to juggle.
And
right.
The Hydra count, it's not like impressive, but it has some substance.
It's enough now, whereas before it wasn't. If he gets another pull like that on the mothership, then the mothership just gets focused down and dies, right? Instead of the mothership being pulled and the Corruptors try, right?
Right.
Corruptors try, Hydras do, and
oh my.
There's a real difference in the damage output there.
The other thing is like that the Hydras can actually deal with the Void, whereas the Corruptors, nah.
Well, right. The Void Rays get their bonus damage to Armored, which doesn't do the Corruptors any favors in that matchup.
Nope.
Alright, Zealot run by here, gets past... he's worn down the defenses here, which Bly didn't get a chance to replace, and now he's down to 41 drones. Just the money isn't there. The bases are mining out. He doesn't have that 5th base, except for the Skull base that's coming up, but...
Yeah,
I mean...
I feel like for Harstem, it's just a matter of defending his economy, and he can push, but, like, Bly... The burden of the game is on Bly.
Definitely. So usually the game plan here for a Zerg would be, it's okay if I trade a little bit inefficiently, because it's so hard to replace Tempest, because it's so hard to replace Motherships and High Templar and all these expensive limited units. And then Bly says, well, Hydras and Roaches and Infestors, I can trade those out and replace them with my massive Zerg economy here, because I control the whole map and have wonderful creep spread. But we've seen Harstem, like, point by point, as a very core tenet of his playstyle here, controlling that creep spread, controlling the amount of bases that Bly can take, not letting him have anything for free, so he doesn't have that bank to trade out and then reproduce, and trade out and recreate, right?
Yeah, Harstem is also starting to invest into these perimeter pylons and moving like DTs and Zealots around. He's really just shutting down the Nidus potential for his opponent at like across the entire map, and it's just that like slow death.
Exactly. It's not I don't know, flashy, like a cannon rush or something, right? It's not, or like a timing attack, like a Gledepdolin or something. But this is like some really solid, really thorough, point by point. I'm going to outmine you. I'm going to control the map. I can focus on more areas at the same time, and I can hit this late game Protoss army. Just thorough play that we're seeing out of Harstem here, and this takes a lot of practice to do correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just looking at this mini-map, look at how much red there is. He's everywhere.
I've switched it over to his vision, and basically he can see over half the map at any given time. Whereas Bly is tucked in his little corner with a couple random spotters here and there.
Mm-hmm. But it's not quite enough that Harstem can get in there and end it, right? If he pushes too far, if he really tries to extend himself to get in there, start using those Tempest and wearing down those hatcheries and taking out these spore crawlers, then he runs so much more risk. He might get neural parasited, he might get pulled by the Vipers, right? And Bly's ready for that. Bly sees that that's his way back into this game, and he's crouched and ready to do so. All right. Bly pushes back a little bit of that map control, a little bit of that presence from Harstem. Sees that Harstem's really maneuvering his army around the south side here. Goes for the northern base, goes for a southern base. Says he can't kill them both.
Yeah, it does feel like a very Zerg thing to say, okay, one of these bases must go up.
Right. Like, I need a hatchery, so I'll build two, right? It's insurance.
Yeah. I like how he's positioned his army. Like, the base that is closer to his opponent is the majority of his forces are there, but he still has a handful of Hydras for like a Zealot counterattack. Lings are going to come over to this gold base, find a couple of probes. I don't feel like that's of serious consequence at this point in the game.
No, it does count, right? Because
it's
both of these players are banking now.
I feel like the Ling run by, the thing it does for Bly is not hurt economy, but like force more reaction out of Harstem so he can't just do whatever he wants.
And I'm liking this reaction too, where we saw him running by with roaches when he had ample gas and minerals, but now Bly's trying to establish a gas bank, right? He has 4,000 minerals, but no gas. And so he's using these Lings just as kind of a free throwaway here to keep himself just active on the map, keep himself pushing and pulling here, and then hopefully through this pressure he'll be able to establish that gas bank he wants so bad. Oh, it looks like both of these hatcheries might go down here. Archon's on the bottom side, gets the hatchery there. The Sky Army on the top side gets the hatchery there. So once again, Bly's hungry. Bly is not able to find these resource fields that Harstem has been able to secure for himself.
Yeah. Really good two-pronged attack coming out of Harstem to shut down both of those investments. Can I have one? No, you may have neither.
No, you may not. He's like, hey, insurance, I got into a wreck. And they're like, okay. It's like, can I have a new car? Like, no. Like, but I bought insurance so that I could still have a car. It's like, Harstem's the one, just, you talk to him. And you're like, he's the one who wrecked my car. And it's like, that's your problem to deal with here, Bly. Alright, these swarm hosts have gotten so much that they're just chipping away, continually finding a couple pylons here, a couple zealots there. They've killed Archons, they've killed Templar, but I don't really feel like Harstem is under any kind of great swarm host pressure, right? It feels more cute than oppressive, you know?
Yeah, I felt like they did a really good job in the mid-game, and now they're just like, they have The only reason why he hasn't thrown away his Storm Host is because he actually still needs them to put on pressure.
Right.
Like,
oh, I wouldn't.
They don't actually gain him anything.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was that not one of the openings where you pulled the Tempest as they were clearing out those static defenses? Is that not the time that you have a Viper in position to... Oh, never mind. That was... I guess what I'm trying to say is what's a Zerg to do? What's Bly's answer here?
Well, I mean, he's trying to get up a Sporist to zone out and yoink into, but I feel like he just doesn't have the economy to do that. That's a nice Storm.
Yeah, I like this little mini game that they're playing with each other where Harstem knows that the mana units want to come forward to lay down fungals and do their Viper grabs, and so he's ready to storm them and feedback them. But then Bly knows that that's there, and so he's ready to Neural Parasite the High Templar, which has a longer range than feedback. And so there's layers to this.
Yeah. We have Stormos still coming in on this other base, but it's there are DTs in position, and they can kind of deal with it, at least mitigate the damage.
Right. So I was calling the little caster minigame a minigame because the main game, right, if that's a minigame, then the main one is that Bly's down to 25 workers and Harstem has 12,000 minerals in the bank.
Oof.
Right?
Oof.
Right, that's money, right? That's dollars. That is Harstem's feeling big and rich right now.
Oh yeah.
Broodlords finally get their sieging on. These Broodlords have been waiting for this since about 7 minutes into the game when that infestation pit started. And he's finally taking out some cannons here. Finally taking out this gold base. Destroys all the static defenses there. Loses a couple Broodlords for it. Has to fall back.
Now, Bly is starting to push back a little bit. He was able to clear out some of the workers at this far expansion. But, and he is getting a lot done with his army pushing forward here. I just don't know what he's going to do about his gas problem.
Right. Because it's +0, right? Bly is not mining gas and hasn't been for a while, and he's blown through most of his mineral bank, and these bases still aren't really mining because he doesn't have the drones to do it.
Yeah. I guess he's taken some expansions, and in time they might be able to fix the gas issue. So, like, Bly needs a lot, like, this army that he has pushing forward still has a lot of work to do. He does manage to pick off one of Harstem's bases, which we really haven't seen for, gosh, the majority of this game.
Right. It's been a lot of Harstem denying mining, and Harstem just really, right, like, steady, thorough. Just, I'm going to take a base when I'm ready to hold it, when my army's in position to do so, when I'm ready to get some cannons up, and when I can harass to, pull pressure away from it. Right? There's like this very methodical checklist he's going through. Whereas Bly is going for more of the Zerg approach of like, well, a hatchery's 300 minerals, throw it down, right? If he kills it, he kills it, and that's part of the game. And if he doesn't, then hopefully at least I make him pay for it.
Yeah, Harstem seems to have had enough and built all the static defense to kind of sandbag the pushing Zerg. And he's gone on the offensive again. He's going to take out all of these northern bases from Bly. Possibly recall back, guess not? He clumped his army like he wanted to, and then maybe
they're walking.
I don't know. I guess he just wasn't sure where he wanted to recall to, or didn't have the energy, or it was on cooldown. I don't know. At any rate,
that was almost every probe going down here. We have pressure on all of these bases. Harstem, all that map control that he had is clear now, pushed back. Zergling's on here trying to get that damage done. But the difference between these economic situations is that even though Harstem has no workers... Wait, Harstem has no workers. Okay, this is... if he doesn't get...
I feel like he should have one probe at least, right?
He has a Nexus, and he has minerals, and he has supply, so he's not worker locked in any way.
No, he's not worker locked. He can certainly build another probe.
Definitely. At any point, Harstem could decide that if he wants probes, he makes them. But let's talk about this army that Harstem built himself up to in the meanwhile. That's the Golden Armada. That's it. You might not like it, but this is what peak Protoss late game looks like. You know, this is it. We made it.
Bring back the Fist of Neeb, missing the one worker, and gonna get a time warp.
I mean, I feel like we have enough. Anybody who's been in a base race feels that little nervousness, that little in your chest when you don't have a single worker.
Yeah.
Right? But you're just like, because that means that if these Nexuses die, then it just becomes a game where Bly needs to kill every building, right?
Right. I mean, these storms are phenomenal, so it won't matter.
Definitely. Forget it. Okay. Okay. Harstem got it. Cleans it up. 2-0. Definite win for him. That was well earned, and definitely both players really, really pushing it.
Oh, man.
I want to see more Swarm hosts, and I want to see them work, right? I want to see what it looks like when Bly is that whatever is not clicking with this. I want to see what it looks like when it really just is just brutal and hard to deal with. Like when Bly just finds the edges he needs to make it just fantastic.
Yeah. Looks like Cyber is the third map. And, oh.
I feel like that's the game that Harstem is trying to play, is what we just watched. Like,
yeah,
I feel like that
definitely
was his game,
yeah,
where his game plan was executed and his strategy was the one that they were working around, right? And
absolutely.
And Bly had I'm not saying this that Bly didn't have a plan or didn't have a strategy or anything. He definitely did. But we saw Harstem's just kind of slowly, like, position itself as the better plan in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like... It's not like when you play a game of StarCraft, these two plans that these two people brought to the table, one is just superior. Like, that's not always the situation. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it feels that way. But, like, I think when we look at game 1 versus game 2, like, I think, like, that scrappy, yoink, like, all over the place mid-game, or, like, early in mid-game that we saw out of Bly, that allowed him to get to the like, mass muta, is more, like, where he wanted to go. I don't know if he still had mutas. In fact, I don't think he wanted mutas on Automaton, but like, a lot of it just comes down to execution, and like a lot of those engagements, like, how do you gain an edge so that whatever your win condition is, how can you bring that to fruition?
Right, that they both clearly have these strategies, but there's so many little steps in between. There's so many little things to hit.
Alright. And spawning in the bottom right as the blue Zerg. Representing Blazer, it is Bly.
And spawning in the top left, clearly a man who's practiced his macro game. It is the red Protoss player, Harstem.
Every time. Alright. Thank you, Sushi.
Yep, the overlay. Speaking of details, speaking of the little things, yep.
Casters. Problems.
Can't live with them, can't live without them. Alright, standard openings again. Hatch first into pool. Oh, hatch pool gas instead of hatch gas pool. So, slight deviation from Bly. Curious to see what he works in with that. And then we have Harstem here, just the only noteworthy part here is that he went for the Nexus before the Cybernetics core, right? Instead of going Pylon, Gate, Core, Nexus. And so usually that means, again, as you would expect from a player of Harstem's playstyle, that means macro. That means a little bit greedier on the opening, that he's not trying, well, not greed, but a little bit less aggressive, right? He's staying home. It's a pajama day, Harstem's base. This is the pajama opening, right?
Pajama day. That's great.
Right, but if you see the core first before the Nexus, that means you're going out, right?
Sure.
That's you putting your dress on and getting ready to go and see what the Zerg's up to. All right, 6 lings on the way here out of Bly. So that's enough, right? 4 is enough to control the vision, get the probe off the map, and do a little bit of poking here. I'm curious to see what these extra 2 lings are for.
Well, with the faster pool, this is on a short rush distance map. I can see this getting some, like, we've seen Harstem continuously be slow to get his wall up, and he hasn't he's kept his adept out on the map in all the previous games, but this one he's waiting, and I think he picked up on the non-hatch first. So he's decided, okay, I can't scout right now.
That is a good point about the later walls there, that these lings, we saw an interesting plan there where he was chasing the probe and he was saying, I'm gonna kill it because I have the map control and I want to get it back into your base, so it's not building cannons or proxying any pylons or anything. And then the adept came out to, knight in shining armor. No, probe, you are Protoss, I'll save you, right? And those lings were so ready to use that vision and get that surround on the adept and then just chomp him to bits, right? No more knight in shining armor. But Harstem, he read it. He figured, he sniffed it out when the lings pulled back off of the probe and said, like, okay, the probe's not, it's okay if I lose the probe, but I don't want the adept to die, right? And he did. Let's look at how much map vision we have for Bly here, though. Just this early. Like, how do you sneak a prism past this? He definitely knows about this warpin.
Wow.
And there we go. 5 stalkers, prisms up, a lot of gateways built.
Yeah, this is kind of a newer build entering the PvZ meta, where with the faster warpin, since that was reduced, we've seen some Protoss do this, where they just say, okay, let's get a bunch of gateways early on, time it with a warp prism and our warp tech, and we're gonna have a lot of production before the normal defense for Gladepps or charge lots, and we're not gonna get any upgrades. We're just going to bludgeon the Zerg as much as possible. It's sort of all-in-y, but there's room to expand behind this if you kill
definitely. He's trying to work his way up the ramp. There's 3 queens there, a couple spines able to pull that back.
Those queens still get the prism.
Not quite. Looks like Harstem's able to defend it there. Use that Protoss muscle to push forward. That spine crawler could die. Transfusion heal is not enough. Drones are going to have to be pulled. There's no Roach Warren here. Bly decided to skip it this game, and
I feel
he's paying the price for it.
Not getting that prism due to the positioning of the Protoss army is really hurting Bly. Has no way to stop this, and Harstem will take game 3.
Okay, so I believe I missaid the map score earlier. This puts us at 2-1, correct?
Yeah.
2-1 Harstem over Bly?
Yes.
Okay.
The second game was very long and may have felt like 2 wins in one.
It felt like 2, right? If you're counting the moral win, if you're counting the mental damage there, that's, you can say it there. We'll just give it
this one was really short.
So it evens out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that kind of game, though. Huh? You give Protoss a faster warp in or a faster warp gate research and a cheaper robo, and they'll make use of it, though.
14 seconds. That's huge in StarCraft time.
That matters, right? Because every professional Zerg has like a sense of timing, like a sense of like an internal clock for like when gateway aggression is going to show up, and when you take that clock and you turn it 14 seconds back, and you make the robo cheaper, it makes it so that there's an adjustment period where, like, if we had played on this patch for a year, I don't think we would see the same build work, right? Because that clock would adjust to it. Sure. But since the patch is still new, I think that these timings are still just in that kind of tricky spot where it's not the timing itself, it's just that it's new. Or maybe these warp gates are just too dang strong and I don't know what I'm talking about. I could be wrong.
I feel like it's not completely new to the patch. Like, this build has existed, but it was never really brought to full development until the patch kind of fixed the timing issues with the build.
Yeah, because it wasn't a clean build. Like, when you do a 2-1-1 as a Terran, everything lines up real nice.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful build, right? If you were talking to an alien race and trying to convince them that humans were smart, you would show them the 2-1-1 and just say, look how right when I have 150 minerals and 100 gas, the factory goes down. Or right when I hit 20 supply, the second racks goes down. See, there's art to this build, right? You go, wow, you're right. You humans, you're okay, right? But if you wanted to show them something beautiful, you would not show them a patch 4.80 Robo 5-gate Prism all-in. You'd be like, see, humans are smart. And they'd be like, no, you guys, you're working on it. All right, spawning in the top right here, the man with the prisms, the man with the sky toss, spawning in the red, it is Harstem. Against his opponent, he's got a little wall to climb here. The blue Zerg, can he do it? It is Blazer's Bly. All right. Tell the story. What's going on in this map?
This map is it has a dark, mysterious, benevolent creature in the top center that will swat any passing vehicles.
That's right. That's the third player. This is Blazer versus Bly, or Bly versus Harstem versus Amon.
Yes, precisely. Fortunately, according to Tastosis, the two immortals in the Warp Prism, if it ever comes out, can deal with that.
Yeah, it's close. It's close, but they definitely have to use their hardened shields.
Oh yes, for sure. Okay. In all seriousness, this map has an incredibly long ground distance, but by air is quite normal. So drop play, muta play, anything that flies can be a thorn in the side of the defending player. And that said, there are some nice chokes, and it's just one of those awkward maps. This is basically stasis with a couple tweaks. It's longer, and there are rocks that are in nicer positions, I guess.
Mhm.
And there's no gold bases, unlike Stasis.
What is interesting to me about this map, though, is that you have a lot of like constricted vision with both with the vision blockers and just the amount of ramps in the middle of the map. That even if you have right, Zerg wants those wide open maps. Like if you made a map that was just flat, you would see every Protoss veto it and every Zerg wondering why they never get to play it, right? But if you have a map like this, where you have like lots of nice, tight little areas, you have high grounds to pull back and defend on, then you see Protoss players kind of lean towards that. So I am curious what Bly's plan is to pick this. It might just be the rush distance, like you said.
I mean, he could do Nidus play again here.
Oh, Adept gets into the natural. Goes for one drone. Good reactions there by Bly. Gets the Spore Crawler put down. That Adept dies for not a single drone. Denies a little bit of mining time there. That was excellently handled by Bly. That was textbook. If you're a Zerg and you're wondering how to deal with these friggin' Adepts, no Spore in the main, Oracle comes flying in. The Queens will get here eventually, but Harstem could have sacrificed the Oracle there, probably would have gotten another 2 or 3 drones for it, but just decides to pull it back, deal with this Ling aggression, recalls it actually.
Well, there's Lings knocking on his front door. He needs that Oracle to push that back as his Stalker does fall. He does have a full wall for the time being. Oh, okay.
Yep. Oh,
I see what he did.
That was tricky.
Very cute.
Yes, that improvised wall with the couple of pylons going up there to make a secondary choke point.
Yeah.
By all rights, those Lings were in the base, right?
Yes.
Bly was excited. He's like, okay, I killed the Stalker, I killed the pylon, I'm ready to run around and scout the main, harass these probes, and make these 6 Lings really get their money's worth.
No, what that was is this was the equivalent of trying to get the first down, and you're running, and the linebacker comes and pushes you back over, like, you crossed the barrier, but you were tackled behind the first down marker. So
yeah, so close, but so far. All right, third base coming down here. Oracle's ready to defend this Ling counterattack that's coming. Interesting that despite all the map control that Bly had, Harstem was able to get this Nexus planted, because the hardest part there would have been actually getting the probe to the third.
We are going to get a Ling drop coming into the main.
At the same time as these Adepts move in. This is not quite the Gladept build that you were talking about. You can definitely go more all in with this, but this is a lot of good pressure already. He's forcing roaches, he's getting this denial of the mining time here. Lings are spotted, running into the main. Oh, we have damage going on both sides here. Oh, yeah. Shade's trying to go to the natural. Oh, Harstem just now reacts. 10 probes fall before Harstem even really registers that these Lings are here. He's trying to hide his probes in the gas geyser. Gas geyser's full. Lings get a mouthful of metal there. And that drop did a lot of damage for Bly there. I love that he's always looking for these little openings. Like, it's never free.
That drop was timed for the aggression that Protoss generally brings to the Zerg side of the map. So, very much tailored to, I guess, standard PvZ meta, I want to say.
Right, like I don't think anybody would look at that coming out of Bly and then say, like, that was a coincidence, right? That was an accident that those Lings lined up with the Adepts. That was the economy of attention. The way that you can only focus on so many things, and Bly went in right when Harstem was out of it. He was focusing on using his shades, target firing drones, and you know, that's the time when you're most likely to miss that little ding, your little announcer kind of, hey, your Lings in the main, right? You don't have enough time to see that. Yeah. And he got fantastic results for it.
Finding some more perches with the roaches, and Bly is going to pick up this game.
Picked him apart. He got it. Wow, excellently done.
Yeah, all the army had to go back into the main to deal with the 4 roach drop, and Bly just says, okay, your natural door is open. I can bring my main force in.
Mm-hmm. Right, just walked on in. He got it. All right, you'll have to excuse me for 1 second here. I'm very hydrated. I'll be right back.
All right. Alright, looks like Port Alexander will be our next map. And... let me see. Let me finish this. Alpha... XSC2... And image... No, that's the wrong one. Ah!
Okay, I'm back. That's the wrong what?
I clicked on the wrong photo for... Fortunately, I fixed it in time. I just misclicked.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Alright. I'm not going to call any more map scores because I've already blown it once this cast, but we are closing in on the end of the series. It's 2-2?
I think. Go back and check.
Oh gosh. Where are the professionals at? Where'd the good casters go?
Okay.
No. Okay.
Yes. We're at 2-2. Game 1 went to Bly, game 2 and 3 went to Harstem, game 4, which we just saw, went back to Bly. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we were both calling, that these guys can both give it as good as they take it.
Mm-hmm.
They're whoever set this up, whoever picked these 2 professional players for this game, just you're nailing it, right? You're just on top of it. All right, spawning the top left, he's tied up. The macro games haven't gone so well for him. He needs to look out for that Robo Cheese. It is Blazer's Bly. Spawning in the bottom right. Some of it's worked, some of it hasn't. What else does he have in store for us? The red Protoss player is Harstem from ASTSC.
I believe that's Asterion.
Asterion?
Or something.
Maybe I'm out of touch. Tell me more about him. Tell me about that team.
I don't know anything about that team. I've only heard it by name, but I think that's how it's pronounced.
Well, okay. Interesting here out of Harstem here is he's gone for a gas before a gateway, which usually for Protoss, when you see them want to do a gas-heavy build, they'll do pylon gate and then just take the 2 gases a little faster, or pour more minerals, or pour more probes off the minerals, so they dip below that 16 out of 16. Whereas Harstem's actually gone for the later gate, for the later core, which leaves you a little more susceptible to cheeses, which is the risk why, even though it mathematically works out, a lot of Protosses won't do it. It's not going to get punished. We have a hatch first out of here from Bly, so that little edge that he's looking for was intentional, and it's working.
I feel like Nexus first is also common enough that on maps that don't have a particularly short... Oh, this is a curious wall.
Yeah, this is wild. That cybernetics core is...
Huh.
What?
Okay. Anyway, we'll find out if that matters this game.
Right. Harstem has something going on.
Yeah.
I'm not clever enough to tell exactly what it is, but with the different build and the gas first before the gate and the cybernetics core in a different wall off position, right? Like, if one of my ladder opponents does this, it's because that dude doesn't know how to wall, right? But Harstem is so far above that level that this can only be intentional. So when you look at the cybernetics core, there's a reason why. There's a why behind this placement.
This feels like a bait for something, but I don't like Lings, but I don't know what a faster gas helps you deal with Lings better. I mean, he's gotten a Stargate, which will be faster.
Right.
Maybe. I think.
Right. Noteworthy is that he did go for the Stargate before the Warp Gate.
Right.
And so his warp or his he'll be on gateways for a little bit longer than normal here. A couple Lings come running in. The Adept's about to pop, so these will be more for scouting than any kind of probe kills. We shouldn't see any probes die to these two Lings.
I don't know.
Going for the jump. Here comes the Adept Shade. And he's going to see the shadow on that Stargate that is a Phoenix coming out here.
I haven't the fuzziest what this plan is from Harstem.
Right, there's something cooking, and I have no idea. Is this just a better wall? Does Harstem just know how to wall? Because I can't see any intention behind this.
I feel like this is the wall that, now that I'm looking at, so I was thinking maybe he put it protruding just to give, like, the illusion that Lings might be a good idea, but then if he were going to do that, I feel like he would have started with an Oracle and not a Phoenix. But he's actually gone double Stargate, so maybe he didn't want. Maybe he didn't want to have to build a shield battery and wanted the gateway down in the wall. So like, he's left enough space that if he has to wall Lings, he can drop another gateway, which is nice.
Right, like if you're getting Baneling all in, now that I'm looking at this wall as it's completed, and not when it was just that cybernetics core, this could be right a couple 3x3 buildings, and you're golden. Cozy in your home. We have a really quick Nidus coming out of here, though. We have more Nidus play coming up. Oh, the Lings are able to squeeze in. They get us around on that first Adept there. Good shading there. Oracle pulls back, and so that was expensive for Bly, but if he's just trying to go for this kind of Ling-based Nidus all-in, I don't know how he's going to get it, though.
I guess Nidus down.
I guess that's how.
The Phoenix are coming in, but they don't. They can't kill the Nidus. They can only kill the Overlord.
Decisive play here. Lots of queens there to push back everything. Ling, a secondary Nidus just to make sure, just to really let them know. Is that a Manor Nidus?
I would call it an insurance Nidus first.
Okay. All right, here we go. Fight's breaking out. Probes in the wall. Zealot's holding position here. Adepts in the back. Queen's taking out the Phoenixes here, who are trying to do battle with the Queens. Actually winning that there. Transfuses aren't quite enough. Lifting the high up ones. Bly. Clean victory there. Saw the read. Made it happen.
That felt like this isn't a term that I am very much in favor of, but it felt like build order loss. Like, I don't know how double Stargate is, like... Okay, in the theoretical...
Right.
In the theoretical, the Phoenix should spot the Observer before... can't talk. The, Overlord. Let's call it everything else that starts with an O before we come with the right one.
Just running down the dictionary. Nope, not an observer, not an overseer.
Oh my goodness.
Because the Overlord needs to get in to put the Nidus form down.
Right. So like,
and the Phoenixes control the skies and kill the Overlords, right?
So like in the theoretical, that Nidus should never occur. But then, if the Nidus does occur, I guess that's more what this feels like. It's just like the styles are so extreme. Like they're not. Neither is designed to like confront the other. They're both designed to occur without the other encountering them. Like whoever has the initiative.
I feel like Bly just pulled a solid snake on him, though. Just Phoenix is patrolling the skies, and the Overlord, you have like 0.4 movement speed, and you need to get past all of these just whipping around Phoenixes with double lasers on them, and you just slowly, Bly, just sneaky Ukrainian, just snuck it in there.
So is it a Nidus snake and not a Nidus worm?
That was a Nidus snake. That's what we're calling it.
Excellent.
All right, go ahead with the player intros.
All right, spawning in the bottom right as the blue Zerg, representing Blazer, it is Bly. And to the top left as the red Protoss for Asterion, it is Harstem.
All right, King's Cove. If you want to talk about free Protoss thirds, this is the time for it, right? The king in King's Cove is the 3-base Protoss, right? Especially seeing how Harstem played out the Skytoss game, right?
Yeah.
This, if I were a 6500 MMR Protoss player, I'm not, but if I were, with an inclination towards macro styles and clearly fantastic control of a Skytoss army, that would be my goal. I would try to replicate that here. That would be everything in my mind would be to get to that point.
Yeah. I think I was watching Harstem versus sort of from I was catching up on some WCS last night. I fell asleep in the middle of the series, but I saw the first game, which was here, and basically what happened was he played an incredibly defensive Protoss opener, where he just sat back. He had a couple oracles, but he didn't really do a whole lot, and he just took that 3-base advantage with the faster third, the easy defense, and like in the mid to late game had like Archon mothership, couple carriers, just like a really eccentric combination of Protoss units.
Just like a little bit of everything. He's got his shopping cart. He's walking down. Just carriers look good. Throw a couple of Tempest, of course. Can't say no to that range. Throws those in there. A couple Colossi, yep. They're iconic. War of the Worlds. We're Protoss, right? Puts that in the shopping cart, right?
Yeah. It was just like, okay, I don't know what this composition is, and I don't know how we got here exactly, but we have the economy for anything, so sure, why not?
Beautiful. All right, lay your predictions on me. How soon is this third Nexus coming down? We're coming up on 3 minutes, which is just about the earliest. About 4 minutes 30 is kind of the later part of this matchup, right? Assuming nothing wild happens.
I think 4 is very comfortable.
You think 4?
Yeah.
Harstem's my dude. He's gonna do 330. It's coming.
Okay.
No more gates. It's just tech and thirds, right? Here we go. No, he doesn't have a Stargate. He would definitely get a Stargate if you were doing that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right. That was a bad prediction. Scrub
this looks like a charge lot all in.
Yeah, we have charge coming. We have robos coming. All right, Harstem. All right. What are we doing here? We got 2 out of 3 on each gas in the main because zealots don't cost gas. We got warp gates coming in. Charge being chronoed. Yeah, I'm thinking thirds. I'm thinking Skytoss, and Harstem is like, buddy, let me show you how you play King's Cove, right?
He's like, I already played a macro game on King's Cove recently. I'm sure Bly is thinking of this too, so let's do something else.
Right. So what's interesting to see here is the drone count that Bly chooses to cut at, which should be around the rule of thumb for Zergs holding Protoss all ins is you want to be about 4 to 6 drones over their probe count, right? And that gives you enough time that you hold the attack and you're ahead for it, but not so much that because if you're uneven, then the Protoss is happy to continue just trading back and forth with you. We have the Zealots warping in here. Let's talk about theoretical timings and everything later. We got a Roach Warren that's not done. We have 4 Zealots charging through this exposed third here. Queens are pulling back. Roach has just now started. So this is the sweet spot, right? This is where Harstem gets to play. Charge is almost finished. Oh, good Warp Prism Micro there to get up there. All that for a drone.
You know, the thing is, he never had that gateway explosion. So he's taken his third behind this. And, like, Bly still has to respect this. These are charge lots. They do have charge. They do have the kill potential on, like, a base or workers. But he doesn't actually have 8 gateways behind this.
No, he baited us just as he's baiting Bly. Like, we're thinking charge a lot all in, and then he made, like, what, 3 gates? And then took a third, started making immortals, chrono boosting +1. Yeah. So it's like a charge lot pressure.
Right.
I really like it.
We've seen a couple of these from, like, I think Haas was the first one that we saw in, like, a major tournament setting. But we've also saw it from, oh gosh. I don't remember which Korean it was, but it was in a recent GSL. Or in the recent GSL.
I don't know, one of those world-class Protosses.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
One of them did it.
Alright, so now I'm curious what the next steps are here. We have a Spire coming down for Bly, so he's kind of showing us what he has in mind, but we're not really seeing a Harstems, right? He's just staying on these 3 bases. He made a couple Immortals. I don't think Bly is going to be ready for this kind of attack. This is going to be a lot of pressure before that Spire is finished.
There are some sentries with this, so, like, anything on the ground.
Bold prediction. This kills him. Bly's dead. Harstem did it.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see. Good Spore Crawler there. Pushes the Observer away. He's got these Ravagers kind of sneaky in the back, right? He's got this good hold position here. Oh dang. Alright, Bly. Good force fields. Little shuffle step there, dodge the Biles. He's not using that, like, super active Warp Prism micro, which I like because it's not putting his Warp Prism in any danger from the Queens or the Ravagers. And with some clean force fields and a big army, he's able to really get a good fight there. He's just not finishing.
I feel like this was the best location for Bly to take this fight. It forced out the most force fields that it could have, but he still loses that base. And now, from here, it's going to be harder to defend because now there's no high ground advantage. There's a nice choke for the Protoss. The Roaches, they can't really save this base either. And the Warp Prism is miles away from the Queens.
Right, and falling down to 2 bases against a 3-base Protoss is just... right? If we're talking about bad feelings, that you feel that one when you're really...
Even if there is a way for Bly to defend this, he is dead.
Right, like, it could be said that even though Bly looks alive, right, the body's moving, this is just, he's dead. This is a dead man's last wiggles before Rigor Mortis sets in. We got charge lots chasing down Queens, a surprisingly limited number of Roaches here, a few Biles left, oversaturated mineral lines, a Roach Warren that's about to go down, constant reinforcements from this Warp Prism here. This is almost over.
Yeah, good Prism Micro saving those Immortals as they get down into the deep red. I mean, there aren't any more... Okay, there's a couple more Warpins. Harstem is, like, pretty content with his damage, and he's, like...
This has been some really good kiting out of these Roaches, though, and we have Mutas almost on the... Like, we have a couple Mutas, but with these +1 sentries here, it feels like a joke to say +1 sentries and, like, ooh, scary, right? But They are enough to fight a couple Mutalisks off.
Oh, there's Phoenix in production.
Oh, of course. Better safe than sorry.
Oh,
As
yeah.
these Immortals continue just chipping away here. The Natural's under a third. If he loses this Natural, I'd expect to see him tap out. Nope, Eye of the Tiger, Heart of a Warrior, continues fighting on. Another Warpin going here, separating out the main from the Natural and the third. Just really controlling this space here. He's got this Protoss army right in the way of where it wants to be. Bly sees the hives fall, sees the hatcheries destroyed, taps out. GG's to Harstem.
Wow.
That was a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the timing there was crisp. So those kind of charge a lot of mortal sentry attacks are like not just kind of countered, but definitely countered by any kind of fast mutaplay, right? If you only have sentries for anti-air and 10, 14 mutalisks pop out of those hatcheries, it's a bad day. You just try to sacrifice your army and get as much as you can while you get ready to stabilize on your 3 bases back home.
Mm-hmm.
But Bly was going for mutas, so he almost had that kind of like, that gotcha, right? That turning point when those mutas pop. But it was just a little bit too late. He did go for a Spire, but he wasn't racing for it, right? Like, you can't react with a Spire to that, because it's just a little too slow.
Right.
But if you're already going for the Spire, that's when everything just lines up, and the dealer just deals you a blackjack. You're like, oh, cool, I did it. All right, so that was Harstem's. All right.
What happened on port?
Say that again?
What happened on Port Alexander? My brain is... not the... We just saw King's Cove, but the game prior to that.
We did. That was Harstem doing the 5 Warp Gate robotics facility all in. Right?
That was Cyber Forest, and I don't think he used it a second.
That was definitely Cyber Forest. Oh gosh. Oh, Amnesia, the sudden killer, strikes at the worst times. Alright, loading into here.
I remember now. It was the double Phoenix versus the Nidus.
Oh, the other quick win, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it's tied up again.
Oh, we're 3-3?
Yes.
And it's first to 5, best of 9.
Yes.
Perfect. Alright, see? There we go. It wasn't clean, but we got there. Alright, spotting in the top right. 3 wins under his belt, needs a couple more. It is Blazer's Bly. Against the man with the plan, making it happen in the bottom left. Also needs to make it happen. It is Harstem, the red Protoss. Alright, new repugnancy. Who names maps, man? Who comes up with this?
Usually the map maker.
Alright, disregard. We gotta pull first. This is the first time Bly has deviated from these hatch first openings. And this isn't a cheesy early pool, but it's not like the latest, safest pool, right? You have this kind of scale where like the 12 pool, you're definitely attacking. The 14 pool, you're definitely attacking. And the 17 pool, you might, right? And this is a 16 pool. So if you just skew it a little bit closer to that aggressive tendency there, then...
I feel like he used a 16 or 17 pool on Cyber. Did he not?
I thought that was a hatch first. Did I miss it?
I don't know.
Alright, we'll trust Zeno. You're... Alright.
I definitely remember he built a lot of early lings. Not like a lot, but he built like 6 instead of 4. But I don't remember if it was off pool first or a hatch first. I'm not entirely certain.
Right, I thought that was just a hatch first and then earlier lings. But Harstem has done this again, where he just puts his cybernetics core a little bit further forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to seeing this wall. It looks like a soldier with their uniform on, right? It's very crisp, and you have like a front of the wall, quote unquote, and everything is in line with that front, right?
Mm.
And it's funny to see him cockeye it a little bit here. I wonder what does Harstem know that I
feel
don't?
like having a bulge is, or let me reword this. Well, actually, this might get unpowered. I will have to save that thought for the lings that are going to unpower this. They're not going to come out, and the drones or probes are being pulled. The lings are going to get on top of those workers. More probes have to be pulled.
We need to see that pylon rebuilt there. Lots of damage getting done with these lings here.
Wow.
Harstem GG's out. Oh my goodness. What?
I do not know.
Right, so usually that does damage, right? Usually that gets you a lead, right? It's not a cheese. It's not looking for like a build order win, but it's made to get some damage done, get a pylon, get some probes, get some scouting, distract your opponent. But the amount of probes that died there, I don't think there's any criticism to lay on Harstem for GGing out there, because that was a massive amount of damage.
Right. It was just very sudden and unexpected. And I feel like that's probably how Harstem was like, oh, I guess I need to pull probes. Oh, I guess all my probes mysteriously died. I didn't pull enough. Oh my. Okay. Crap.
Yeah. So I've been keeping a little side-eye, right? A little secret here on the APMs while they play. And Bly is a fast player. It's just crisp, right? 400 plus just when he's spamming APM in the start. 600 plus during the battles. This man's got moves, right?
Okay.
This game, his average APM was 184. Bly said, all right, I'm sneaking some lings in there. I'm unpowering the pylon. I'll fight lings against probes. That only takes under 200, right? And he played it at a normal speed and just let the lings do the damage and accepted the GG gracefully and just thought, cool, cool. I'll take a deep breath.
So it's 4-3. We have exhausted the map pool, which means we get to see repeats now. So we're going to go back to King's Cove.
That's right. Harstem just lost, and he said, I'm sorry, I get to be a king there? I'm the king of the cove? Yeah, we're going there. Bring me my throne. Bring me my throne, and I will sit upon it. And I will create immortals and robotics facilities from there and extend my kingly reach.
I'm not surprised he picks this map. I feel like watching his game versus sort of watching the game he already played in this series, like, he seems very comfortable on this map. And stylistically, it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I just like that it has King's Cove in the name. They could have named it anything, Prince's Cove, right?
They could have named it Old Repugnancy.
This is the old one.
I don't think so. They're nothing alike.
No.
Huh.
So this is interesting because they just played King's Cove, right? They played King's Cove. They took a little break, and now right back to King's Cove, right? Mm-hmm. Does Harstem do the same thing again? Like, is that a map-dependent thing that's just really strong, and even if you know it's coming, it's hard to hold? Or is that something that he needs to mix up here, or else Bly will have an easier hold this time around?
I've seen that build on just about any map, and I feel like it's viable not because of any map, but because of the fact that the charge lot all-in does exist.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that you have to respect that Warp Prism as it arrives with the Zealots as, the punch that it brings.
But I feel like it's also one of those builds that, like... See, when Haas used it, he went over and over and over with it, and because it was new at the time, or at least not seen at that level, it wasn't really addressed. I feel like it doesn't, like, it's not a Stargate opener, is what I'm getting at. I don't know if it has the same repeat ability as like an Archon drop, or even a DT drop feels more like you have Archons, so you have something, right? I don't know.
Of course.
It doesn't speak to me the same way.
Right, so it definitely has more holes in it that a Zerg could exploit, right? And I think that we'll see, if you want to be bulletproof in your opening, if you want to have answers to any option that your opponent could throw out, then you wouldn't go for this 4-gate Zealot opening, right? Because if you get all in before your warp gates are finished and, you know, roaches show up at your front door and you've built a warp prism instead of an immortal, then you get run over, right? Or if you arrive and it's a mutaplay, then
oh gosh,
the prism dies, the zealots get cleaned up, and you kill a couple drones, right?
Yeah, that sounds like a very big problem.
Right, and so I see what you're saying, where the Stargate opener will ostensibly continue to be the macro opener, regardless of the buffs that the Robo and the Warp Gate got. But we see the
still
Twilight
going to
opener.
see it. Or at least the Twilight, right? There is... You know, it would be... He's going to get the Adept, and he is going to get the Stalker. I would like to see him do... I don't know if it's a build that he's practiced, so... But Zest pulled out this fast Gladept into double Stargate. Oh, okay. Not happening. As he plops the Robo in my face. Never mind that. Disregard.
You have this vision. He says, no, absolutely not. All right.
But the only reason why is because it looks so similar in the initial show.
Right. So, okay. We're on King's Cove. We got charge coming. Chrono boosting away. Well, no Chrono. And we have a Robo on the way. I think
he let that
really
in. He let the Lings scout it. His Stalker was in the wall.
Is that like a manner scout where you say, like, you know what, you can see it. Come on in. Come see. All right, Baneling Nest on the way. Dark Shrine on the way as well.
Okay, there's the deviation.
Okay. DT drop. He's going to shuffle these units around. He needs to get another wall down, though. He needs some shield batteries. He needs something to reinforce the fact that this Cybernetics Core Warp Gate finishes, which is very important. He doesn't have any Chrono Boost left, and this is what I was talking about, where when you Chrono out a Warp Prism, you have these Lings bashing down your wall. That shield battery has inches of life left. Building a little secondary wall here out of his units here. Bly is trying to get through to get some surface area, but he can't. Baneling's morphing in. Dark Shrine is still only halfway done, no charge, so he has to hold this with just about no tech. It's pylons. Oh, if these Banelings get these hits on these Zealots, it's bonus damage to light units. He's going for it. We have these units, getting to the mineral line. All he needs to do is get a good explosion here, and this aggression has definitely paid for itself.
At the end of the day, the Banelings didn't actually get any good connections. The probes returned to mining. The charge slots are gonna hold for now. The Prism is going to move out.
Definitely. That was inches from catastrophe there for Harstem. Just the narrowest margins there.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. He's gonna fly his Prism over this because he still needs to deal with the rest of the Ling Bane that's here. Good pickups. Going to minimize the splash value.
Right, shuffling around his units with the Warp Prism there. Stalkers and the Adept have a good positioning on the back. Charge lots do fantastic against Lings, even without these choke points here. And we're seeing the payoff for this hold here. We have 22 workers against 38. That is significant.
Gonna complete the wall with a forge and a zealot. There's still some Lingbane on this left-hand side. It does get scouted by the Stalker and Shade. And I just don't see this getting a whole lot of purchase for Fly.
Right, on the other side of the map, we have no spores, we have no lair, and we have a Dark Shrine complete. He's going for these warpins here, so all that Harstem needs to do is survive this last little push by the Zerg, get his Dark Templar into those mineral lines, and he can clean this game.
Yeah, he's done a really good job holding the fact that, hiding the fact that he has not, that he went for the DPs this time. The Lings are going to get into the main and
right, those were good Baneling hits. There's the GG. Harstem holds. That was solid. That was exactly what he needed to do. Even with an arguable build order advantage for Bly there.
Yeah. That was really nice. Kind of hearkening to how they played previously and then adding that deviation.
So that puts us 4-3?
No, we are tied up for a piece. This is game 9.
This is it. This is the tiebreaker. Here we go. Dude, I need to, like...
Back to where it all started, too. That's
right, back to Kairos Junction. Oh, this is it. This is for all the marbles. This is... We were both talking back in the old days, before this season, before this series started, right?
Okay. That
these players were so even, that they were so good. And I feel like I could just watch them play all day. Like, if there was just a stream that was just, Harstem and Bly...
Do we need Tastosis to lock them in a cell and make them play over and over again?
Just lock them in a cell, that's right. Just... You guys know what? Just... Run it again. And they're like, we've played 60 games today, sir. Can we go? And you just, guys, just
no.
One more. The people need it. This one's for us. Oh, they are entertainers though. They are.
Oh yeah.
Really playing some peak StarCraft for us. I'm happy to see this. Kind of sad. This is going to be the last one. And it's over after this.
Tear.
All right. This is it. Whatever reads they've made on each other, whatever deviations, whatever little strategic edges they're looking to find here, this is it. This is where it all comes out. This is where they kind of flex that creativity that makes them professional gamers and makes us spectators, right? This is where they show everything that they've worked for. And I'm really excited to see it. In the bottom right, he's always got a plan. He's always thinking on his feet. It's been a pleasure and an honor watching this man play. It is the Blue Zerg Bly for Team Blazer. In the top right, he's been just a wall so far this series. He's been just about indestructible to everything that could knock him off of his game. He's faltered, he's lost, but now he needs to win. It is Harstem for Team ASTSC. I can't choose. You can't ask me to choose. Oh, I'm rooting for both of them.
Well, we're gonna get that pool first again. On the short map.
Right, this is a shorter map, and this map has a very wide wall. There's, I guess not very wide, but it looks Banelingable, right? If you're looking at it with those goggles, if you're putting that vision on, then, you know, a couple Banelings there's some openings.
I don't know about that. With the way Harstem's been walling, he seems to be very Baneling-proof and, like, you can be greedy and not build a gateway in your wall and have, like, a shield battery down or something on a map like this, or Port Alexander, or Cyber Forest, but, like, he's been looking for every opportunity to get 2 gateways in his wall. So... Banelings are not the type of thing I would be thinking of in a series.
Here we go. Roaches and Burrow. Oh, Bly, say it ain't so. Just, oh, be still, my beating heart. Oh, he's trying to deny this probe scout from getting in, though. The queen's not done yet, though. If he sees this roach warren coming, then that is a huge tell. Creeps there. Did he get it? He didn't see it. Okay, the tech is still hidden. These early lings get here. Cancels the pylon. Lings get into the main, so already knocking him off the game. And this is important. We were talking about the attention of, or the economy of attention earlier, where you can peel your opponent's attention. And this definitely counts because he's not thinking now about, did I see a third, or, right, what was he scouting
Dropped
for?
a robo as his tech, though.
Okay.
So...
And in the main, okay, Harstem might be making a read here. He might be a little bit more tuned in to what's coming than I expect him to be.
Yeah, like he has... The only thing that can cue him into... Like, the only thing he's seen is that this was a pool first. Other than that, I don't know what precedence he has to say, hey, I might want an immortal soon. He hasn't built a shield battery yet.
Here come the gates. Gates being built in the main, not at the natural. Okay. Burrow is complete, though. First Zealot falls. Okay, Robo's finished. Immortal's being chrono boosted out. If he can get this Immortal
Observer
chrono,
on the back of that Immortal.
Definitely. We shouldn't see a single roach fall before the Observer's complete. With Burrow already researched, no cancel on that pylon there, and Bly's droning behind this. Okay, this is not him going completely all in. This is him looking for an advantage in the mid game. Robo's out, or Immortal's out. Yep, good Burrow on that first roach there. Second one falls. Oh, that Immortal on the high ground is doing so much damage there. They're healing up. No Observer quite yet. Unburrows a couple. Keeps picking away at that probe. But on the back of this, he's already droning behind. He's almost up in workers. I think that we'll see him slowly take that lead here as this does more damage.
Oh, random drones on this rally, I guess.
It happens to the best of us. That was a really good hold from Harstem, and now he has a definite army advantage here.
The way it opened with the probe not quite getting the scout, and had that been a Phoenix and an Oracle in that order from a standard Stargate, I can see this going pretty poorly for Harstem. But he got the Robo, he got the Immortal, and then he got the Observer. So, like, opening-wise, he had the tech and units that he would have wanted, I feel.
Right. Now, what's interesting here is going to be the follow-up, because Harstem is laying down additional gateways, no forges, no twilight, right? No third and fourth gases. And so he's definitely thinking, I held an all-in, now I go and counter all-in, now I go and punish this. But he's going to find a Zerg that's only on 2 bases, and just reinforcing from there. So there's not the larva count that Bly would like to have, but he also doesn't need to defend as much surface area.
Yeah. For all the importance of macro, every base you take is a liability. It's another place that you have to defend and your opponent can attack.
Right. If you're trying to kind of look at the right hand and then you hit them with the left, right? It's a lot easier if they have more to defend than if they are just kind of turtled up nice. Ooh, I thought those bows were gonna hit. Immortals dropping down here. Oh, it's a fight. All right, we have Ravagers going down. Lings get some decent surrounds, but the Zealots act as those barriers there. Immortals just chewing through these roaches.
Nice force.
That was a really efficient fight for Harstem here. He's closing in. It's 4-4. He's not interested in seeing Bly get the title. He's got this Warp Prism here ready to reinforce. There's not very much left to defend here. Army supplies are roughly equal here, but those Immortals are in fantastic positions here. The Prism Micro's on point. The Queens are being pushed away. Zealots falling. This is a really tight fight. This is really close. Oh, if that Immortal gets body blocked there, isn't able to get out. Zealot's coming in from the back. One Immortal falls. That's a huge deal here. Queen's blowing transfuses there, almost out of energy here. So the more time that we have, the more roaches that we'll see for Bly, and he'll be able to hit a critical mass here. With that Immortal going down, a lot of his time advantage just went away, and he's pulling back. Wow, great hold from Bly there. That very easily could have been a loss. He's pushing out off of creep though. This is where we saw his last fight go. Good pickup there on the sentry. Hides in the warp prism.
The third has established for Bly. He's not. He can't spare the larva for drones right now because he's been defending. I say that, and Harstem is actually going home, so he will drone for the moment.
Right. Looking for whatever little pockets of air he can get.
Right.
Yeah, make a couple drones, right? Oh, he's gone. And right here we go again, knocking at the front door. Another Warpin, another load of Zealots. Charge isn't done. Roach speed isn't done. Right, so we're still in this kind of slow point where the roaches are a little more efficient than when they have their upgrades.
Yeah, +2 is on the way. So like, while Harstem has kill potential, he is teching, and that will gain him more edges as the game progresses. He's not really thinking about a third at the moment, as he does have a superior army and might be able to just lean into Bly.
Right. Oh, we have Lings running into the natural. I think that it's noteworthy, this lack of a third here. Okay, Bly's pulling back, pulling drones, ready to make his stand. Force field's going down, trying to separate that army out. Good choke points there. A lot of Zealots breaking off from the main army here. The Immortals and the Sentries relatively unscathed. Roaches popping out. We have a lot of good damage in the natural there, but Bly is definitely on the ropes. He's pulling back. He's getting ready to defend himself. He's waiting for that next Warpin.
The creep is also receding, as the observer did allow Harstem to clear everything, all the tumors on this ramp here. So, like, Bly is losing micro ability.
Right, like, he needs every little edge he can get, and as that creep recedes, he kind of loses some of that power. That
he's gonna lose this third, so it got a couple larva out.
Did he mine any minerals? Are these fields untouched? +2 weapons is about to finish. That'll be a major power spike. Harstem was able to squeeze that advantage into this little push here. Looks like Bly is looking to get into the natural again, but one Zealot plugs the wall. Harstem's wise to that kind of choice. Bile dodging there goes okay, pops the hardened shield. But if this natural falls, then it's one base against two. A mostly mined out one base, mind you, down to 10 fields, and force fields continue, and Harstem's content to back off. This is Bly's desperate last moments here.
Yeah, Harstem can just sit back at this point, and Bly is going to tap out.
And GG, the end of our series. What a great series. That was an honor to watch, to be here. I don't think you could take anything away from Bly to go away from this without the gold, but he showed incredible games here. Harstem also just fantastic player.
Yeah, really well done. All right. If any of you have not yet already, there is a Matcherino. The link has been provided for you in the chat. The Matcherino code is Alpha Pro Series 59. It will add $50 to the prize pool. This has been Harstem versus Bly. Really great series. If you missed any of the games, you can. I don't know if these are uploaded on YouTube. I can't recall, but for certain, if you subscribe through the Twitch or Patreon, you can get replays. So you can go over them there. Was there anything else I had for announcements? Not that are quickly coming to mind.
Yeah, I don't have anything. Just
okay.
Hey,
you answered my question before I was about to ask it.
Yeah, hey, thanks for letting me lend my voice to this, and thanks for having me on. I'll good night to everybody, and I'll see you around.
All right. This has been the Alpha X Pro Series 59, Harstem versus Bly. Congratulations to Harstem, and well played to Bly. Xeno out.